Most of us have to be transplanted like a tree before we can blossom. Such was the case with Jim Plunkett. The Heisman Trophy winner, Plunkett was picked first in the 1971 college draft. He made the woeful Patriots respectable, had set a rookie record for touchdown passes. But the Patriots were not a good football team, and head coach Chuck Fairbanks made them that much worse. Under Fairbanks' misguidance, Plunkett's pass protection broke down, then his confidence, and finally, the skills he had once mastered. Plunkett had never known failure until now. No longer wanted in New England, he was sent westward to San Francisco. He was the local boy, the Stanford star who was coming back to become part of a team that wanted him, the rebuilding 49ers.
Jim, I think, will bring us leadership, both from his performance on and off the field, his presence here, solidifying the quarterback situation. And for us to achieve what we hope to achieve together, we need to have a man at the helm that can lead us.
In 1976, the 49ers won 6 of their first 7 games. Then Monty Clark's rebuilt team collapsed like a house of cards. It was a recurring nightmare. In 1978, Jim Plunkett, the one-time golden boy of football, was fired, consigned to the scrap heap of broken dreams. Plunkett joined the Oakland Raiders, pro football's haven for lost souls and outcasts. For 2 years, the only passes he threw were on the sidelines.
A couple of things I was thinking, and that was, first of all, to want to continue playing. I'd received some phone calls from other clubs, and I wasn't so sure this is what I wanted to do anymore. I felt like I'd had it. And then after the interest shown by other football clubs, well, I'm still wanted by a few people, so why don't I go ahead and give it a shot again?
When Plunkett got his shot in 1980, he took a team that was faltering and turned them toward a title. With Plunkett in control, the Raiders won 9 of their last 11 games to advance to the playoffs. Then Jim Plunkett achieved something no man had ever done before. He led a wild card team to 3 postseason victories, bringing them to the threshold of a world championship. In Super Bowl XVIII against the Philadelphia Eagles, a worldwide audience was witness to the concluding chapter of Jim Plunkett's story. The story of a man who refused to acknowledge failure and had rediscovered faith, particularly in himself.
Raiders come up to third and just about 4 now. The ball at their own 20. Plunkett on a straight drop back. Here comes the rush. Steps up. Can't find anybody yet. Takes off running to the left. Throws on the move. And it's caught by King at the 40. King takes over the 50. He'll go all the way. Nobody moves. To the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown Raiders. Back is Plunkett. Time to throw. Deep to the end zone to Branch. It is caught by Branch. Touchdown Raiders. Holy Toledo. Silver and black football is king of the hill in the National Football League.
Throughout his career, Jim Plunkett's courage and endurance made him a true professional. His refusal to quit made him a champion and Super Bowl XVIII's most valuable player. The following season, it was the Raiders' neighbors across the bay who became the year's big winners, the San Francisco 49ers. And not since Johnny Unitas has a quarterback stepped out of obscurity quite like Joe Montana did in 1981. No president, no astronaut, no rock star ever received as much newsstand exposure in the same week. In his first full year as a starter, Montana was the NFC's top-ranked passer. His 64% completion rate was the NFL's best.
He wasn't a great player at Notre Dame just by passing through town. His greatness shows up. It showed up there, and it showed up since he probably first put on a male supporter.
Montana led his team through the playoffs and into a shootout with the Dallas Cowboys for the NFC Championship. Trailing by a touchdown in the final minutes, Montana showed the stuff of which legends are made, driving the 49ers 89 yards to the threshold of the NFC crowd.
Okay, you got it? If you don't get what you want, you'll just simply throw the ball away. Okay. You know what I mean? Hold it, not there, away it goes.
Everything hangs in the balance now. The season, the outcome of the Super Bowl berth hangs in the balance. He has the ball. Montana rolling out the right, looking toward the end zone, throwing under pressure, throws his pass, caught by Clark. Clark got a touchdown. Dwight Clark has it. It's a touchdown for the 49ers.
The stunning win carried San Francisco to the Pontiac Silverdome and Super Bowl XVIII.
Trips right tight, Z motion left, T78, X hook on 2. Ready?
Against the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals, the 49ers built a 20-0 halftime lead, a lead they never lost. Also ran the season before, San Francisco rode the arm of MVP Joe Montana to the top. And with him, the 49ers erased a long legacy of mediocrity. In 1982, no player was more valuable than John Riggins, fullback for the Washington Redskins.
The ball sits at the Miami 42-yard line. 4th down and a foot.
Yellow 41! Yellow 41!
Motion by Goodyear. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
In Super Bowl XVII, John Riggins literally carried the Redskins to the top of the NFL. It was a record-breaking performance by a truly unique personality.
There'll never be another John Riggins in football. He's a man unique to himself. If I was to put one word on John Riggins, I'd have to say a couple words. He's his own man, and he's a winner.
John Riggins first came to the NFL in 1971 as the New York Jets' #1 draft choice. Some men marched to the beat of a different drummer. Throughout his career, John Riggins has taken the sticks and played a riff all his own. His many looks reflected the many moods of a jet who had chose to fly at a different altitude. But with sprinter's speed, Riggins launched a frame that stands 6'2", 240 pounds. He was a bull that turned a defense into a china shop. By the mid-70s, the once glamorous Jets were a team on its way down. Finally, after his first 1,000-yard season in 1975, Riggins did what one might expect of him. He played out his option at a time when few dared to do so and signed a 6-figure contract with the Washington Redskins. And expert in handling characters, George Allen chose to utilize another facet of John's exceptional talent, his ability to block. He was the highest paid blocking back ever, until Allen's successor, Jack Pardee, began feeding this gigantic fullback the ball. Riggins gobbled up back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and in 1979, he carried the Redskins to within one game of the Eastern Division Championship. A one-point loss to the Cowboys crushed Washington's playoff hopes. Perhaps worse, it completely demoralized John Riggins. Though he had just finished his finest season ever at the age of 31, he retired and spent 1980 on his farm in Kansas. Why he really left the game is unclear. But when Joe Gibbs became the Redskins' new head coach in 1981, a film study of his new team revealed that Washington desperately needed the massive fullback. Gibbs flew to Kansas to talk Riggins into coming back and found that a year away from the game had rekindled the flames. In 1982, behind an offensive line nicknamed the Hogs, Washington led the league in wins. And at the age of 33, Riggins was still rumbling over the hills that most backs his age never climbed. Number 44 ran the ball more times for more yards than anyone in playoff history.
As we got closer to the playoffs, he approached me and he said, "Buggs," he said, "I'd really like to carry the ball about 35 or 40 times. And I said, "Well, John, don't kid about things like that." He says, "No," he says, "I feel I'm very effective if I touch the ball at least 30 times a game." So he went in there and approached Joe Gibbs and told Joe the same thing. He said he'd like to carry the ball at least 30 times a game. And Joe said, "Well, John, we're going to do it." And so you have to attribute a lot to John Riggins, because he was the guy that really stepped forward and said, "Hey, I want to load the wagon. I want to pull the wagon. If you want to stick with me, give me the ball."
By Super Bowl XVII, this machine was unstoppable. His record 38 carries for 166 yards earned him the game's Most Valuable Player award and propelled Washington to the World Championship. In 1983, Marcus Allen of the Los Angeles Raiders proved that he might be the NFL's most versatile and valuable player. In 1982, he was the Rookie of the Year and led the NFL in scoring and combined rushing and receiving yardage, even though 9 other teams passed him by in the draft.
I think today football is based too much on computer, whether a guy can run a 40 time or how much weight he can lift, and they fail to look at some of the intangible things, my desire, my will to win, and a lot of character that I have. And I think that makes up for the lack of 40 time that I don't have. But in retrospect, I'm glad everybody looked past me.
So were the Raiders, who have never had a runner quite like this former Heisman Trophy winner. His arrival added a startling new dimension to the Los Angeles offense. But as he discovered in 1983, it's a lot tougher the second time around. Number 32 ran just as often as in his rookie year, but he wasn't getting the running room or the yards. Compounding the problem were a rash of fumbles. Despite Allen's trials, the Raiders continued to win. But for a player of his caliber, the personal frustration was nearly unbearable. Hoping that more carries might end his slump, Allen approached owner Al Davis.
I wanted to run the ball some more, so he said to run a few laps after practice. Mr. Davis with his clever wit. And but that was just an excuse because I wasn't playing my game. I wasn't patient, I wasn't waiting on blocks, and I didn't let the offense develop in front of me because I put so much personal pressure on myself, you know, trying to accomplish these goals that I just really didn't play relaxed and just let my instincts take over right there.
But while the name of Marcus Allen was overshadowed for much of 1983 by the Dickersons and Warners, number 32 simply found other ways of returning his name to the NFL marquees. Opponents that too quickly closed down his sweeps were burned by his 3 touchdown passes. Los Angeles never had to substitute a third wide receiver or blocking back on passing downs because Marcus Allen simply was better than anyone they could bring in for specialty skill. Number 32 confirmed this with 68 receptions and by the ability to produce big plays even when he wasn't carrying the ball. Allen scored 11 touchdowns and gained over 1,000 yards the hard way, a little at a time, and helped the Raiders to the AFC West Championship.
Everything started building, and I sort of peaked at the right time. I felt stronger at the end of the year. I just allowed my instincts to go out there and just, you know, take place instead of trying to make things happen. I just allowed them to happen, and when they happen, I try to take advantage of it.
In the playoffs, Allen opened with 121 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Raiders routed Pittsburgh 38-10. In the AFC Championship a week later, the Seattle Seahawks couldn't stop number 32 either. Allen carried 25 times for 154 yards and a touchdown as Los Angeles buried Seattle 30-14. Then came Super Bowl XVIII and the Washington Redskins. Without an injured Marcus Allen earlier in the year, the Raiders had lost to these same Redskins. But with him on this Black Sunday, they created a 38-9 blowout of unthinkable proportions against the defending world champions. Marcus Allen rushed for 191 yards, ran for a 74-yard touchdown, and totaled over 200 yards in total offense. All were new Super Bowl records.